Hello and welcome. This is Rooflemonger, and my friends, this is your ultimate starter guide for Terry in Street Fighter 6. So in this video, we're going to be covering basically everything. We're going to be covering basic concepts, advanced concepts, everything in between. Everything that is Terry Bogard will be in this video. And as such, this will certainly be a longer video. So for your ease of use, there will be timestamps littered throughout the video. So skip forward to whatever makes sense for you, from the basics to more advanced concepts. And also, if you do though, hey, if you could spare a like, it'd be greatly appreciated. These kind of videos take a very long time to make. There is also a companion combo guide video if you want to learn everything about Terry's combos. We will talk some basic combo and combo theory stuff in this video, but if you want something much more complete, please check out that video. So now that said, why exactly would you want to play Terry Bogard, right? Well, he is the master of Bogardification. He is one of the most iconic characters, not just of fighting game history, but of all of gaming history. Video games owe a lot to Terry Bogard. And so that's a pretty good reason in and of itself, right? But okay, let's get the brass tacks, right? Gameplay, functions, right? Why pick Terry? Well, for one, Terry's pretty solid at this Street Fighter 6 thing. He has basically everything the game demands of you. He's a very solid all-rounder. He can control every part of the screen. He can compete at every part of the screen, including being kind of ignorant at certain parts of the screen, right? Everything you want in this game, you know, be it, crouch or medium kick, drive rushes, drive rush overheads in the combo, like decent buttons. He has everything you want. Maybe he doesn't have any particular overwhelming strengths. Like certain characters, with much more defined weaknesses have much more overwhelming strengths. Terry doesn't really have much in the way of defined weaknesses. He's pretty okay at everything. But that said, nothing stands out in an overwhelming way. But hey, that's the curse of being the all-rounder, right? Terry also has very easy pressure. We're going to go into it more in the video, but Burn Knuckle is an exceedingly ignorant move. It's what we call a neutral skip. You just work your way in. You didn't have to earn it, right? And the thing about it is, depending on your spacing, you can make it advantageous on block. So if they block this move where you fly across the screen, it is your turn, not their turn. And, well, that's always strong. That, and if you can sneak it in, his heavy power wave is also exceedingly advantageous on block. Also with crack shoot, his overhead flippy kick style move, it's also very easy to neutral skip, and given the game, also very easy to beat certain characters' offenses, right? Characters that are very big on, like, say, crouch medium kick or just lows in general. As it kind of flips over, it does just very easily go over everything. The heavy kick version specifically also pretty easily goes over the traditional fireball, right? So from mid-range, Terry can just kind of work his way in, and it's not really a big deal. And he could be either advantageous on block, or crack shoots are like barely negative on block. So if you get blocked, it's kind of whatever. He has a very strong target combo game with a lot of options and a lot going for him, much more than the average character. So when it comes to just like additional tools from normals, he does very well in that aspect. And of course, hey, it's not all upsides, right? Specifically here, we mentioned Burn Knuckle plus on block, Round Wave, heavy version of Power Wave plus on block, right? But he doesn't have any plus normals. All of his basic normals, there's not really any way to make them advantage on block other than like very specific like meaty setups. So he doesn't necessarily have a basic button he can bully with. Not to say his buttons are bad, because I think they're pretty decent. But, that is a trait usually everyone has at least like a plus on block button. And for him to be plus on block, he generally has to rely on his specials, not on his basic button. So I do consider that a bit of a disadvantage. And Terry also has a bit of an element of manual timing you won't find in other characters. I guess to give a basic example, right? Here's a basic combo. And it's all well and good, but if you wait just a little bit, just for like a little bit of element of manual timing, you can do more damage. And this is actually the case for quite a few combos where if you just interject a little bit of manual timing, rather just going like bop, 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 just do your combo at the same timing you always do, you'll get more damage. And if you're looking to maximize your damage output, that can be difficult for some people, right? Now, that said, it's not that big of a disadvantage as is it's not necessary. It's not critical. You can still do your combos. You can still do all your fun stuff. The only thing you're losing out if you can't do the manual timing elements to certain aspects of the character is you'll lose out on a bit of damage, but you'll still get the damage in the end, right? It's not if you can't do these links, if you can't do these hard combos with manual timing, that you just lose aspects of the character. All you're doing is losing some optimal damage, but you can still do everything the character has, so that's fine. So once again, strong all-rounder character, kind of has a lot of really just strong traits, but no overwhelming strengths. But that said, no overwhelming weaknesses, right? So not necessarily the highest of highs, but certainly not the lowest of lows. He just can do everything, and if you want that, Terry's a good character for you. Now, let's talk his special moves and all the properties of them therein. Terry's moveset is very interesting, right? It is an all-rounder moveset, but there's some fun twists, like say, Power Wave the basic Fireball. Now, Street Fighter, you're no stranger to fireballs, right? But his don't work necessarily the same way because he comes from a different franchise. One, each button is basically a different move, light, medium, heavy. So the light Power Wave travels across the ground, and here's the thing, it actually travels across the ground. It does not, I repeat, does not clash with traditional fireballs. And that means, yes, in a fireball war, you will get hit, admittedly. And is that a bad thing? I don't think it is a lot of the time. In fact, I think it can be pretty beneficial, and we'll talk about it later in the video. But to give a little bit of a spoiler, it can really work out in your favor, let's put it that way, right? But besides that, very average speed, I would even say a bit slower. He does recover before it would hit the opponent from full screen. So interesting. The medium version now does not travel full screen. The projectile itself is quite a bit faster, and this one will clash with a normal standard projectile. So there is that. Also, in the context of this game, if it hits as a counter hit, then it'll actually knock the enemy down. And that is a juggle okay state. And we're going to talk about that later in the video too, right? So that's also quite good. The heavy version, technically the game considers it a different move, round wave, but whatever, right? So this is, well, it's not a projectile, it just slams into the ground. And by itself, it is incredibly advantageous on hit to the point where you can actually get combos after the fact, right? That's really nice. And if it happens to be blocked, it is also incredibly advantageous on block. In the context of Street Fighter 6, +5 is very rare. You might see some moves +1, +2. +5 is a crazy amount of advantage to beat. So if you can make the enemy block this, say they're just a little bit lazy, and you just catch them not doing anything in the block string, then it's still very much your turn, right? And with the insane amount of advantage, you can throw them, or you can do whatever you want after the fact, right? So on hit or on block, it is assuredly your turn. And if you get the hit, it's your combo as well. The EX version is very different as well here. So it does travel across the ground. Now, just FYI, unlike the light version, this will interact with basic fireballs. So it'll delete fireballs as well, which is really nice. And since it's quite slow on the travel time, you can actually dash up after the fact. So if you just kind of go in, you can hit a button and get a combo if it actually does connect, which is pretty nice. Some characters are blessed with they can throw the fireball, drive rush after. Well, for you, because it's an EX, it'll take you 2 bars instead of 1. But still, it's valuable enough, right? If you got nothing better and you got bar to burn, there is certainly worse plans than dominating the center field to play, dashing in, and then just kind of setting up what to work with. Especially because if they jump, Terry's got some of the best anti-airs in the game, as we'll get into, right? So you do this and you're just saying I'm dictating the pace now. So Power Wave, all the different versions, all very interesting. Certainly a lot more interest than the more brute force shoot fireball, which obviously has its own charm, don't get me wrong. But there's a lot of different game plans here in just one different move with all these different buttons. Now, let's talk Quick Burn, Quarter Circle Back, and Light Punch. This is a 1-button special. The medium and heavy versions are completely different moves, which we'll get into. So basically, what is the point? What is the selling point of this move? It's just good quick confirm off lights. Generally speaking, if you're getting bigger combos, this is not the move you're going to be going for. It does have its own charm, though, in that it does not knock down, but it does leave you at advantage frames. So off a basic quick little combo and +2 in your face. So it's basically, all right, immediately deal with a throw, or, you know, maybe if you do smell the throw, then I'll back off, punish your throw attack, right? So it's basically just shimmy bait, throw bait, just out of the gate. Also, besides that, the other selling point of the move is the second hit specifically, only the second hit, not the first. The second hit is a true overhead. So that must be blocked standing. So that is something. There is an enhanced version, as with any special, right? And it does more damage, and that's about it. It is certainly not Terry's hallmark move. If for whatever reason you just need a quick damage off a combo, that's there. The second hit specifically of the EX, you can combo into your level 2 super, so there is some value in that. But generally, if you just got quick lights, quick burn, okay, there you go. And you can force a quick throw or no throw situation. Now, of course, we'll go back medium punch and heavy punch. This is Burn Knuckle. This is the money maker. So Burn Knuckle is what we call a neutral skip, in that normally if you want to work your way in, you got to deal with like fireballs, you got to deal with buttons, you got to deal with all that stuff. And Burn Knuckle says, nah, I'm just going to work my way in from the heavy version, especially quite far away. And usually, this style of move is dependent on spacing, and this one is very dependent on spacing as well, right? But it's dependent on spacing to make it not punishable on block. Like, if you do the move too close, whoops, the number is bad, get a punish, right? Here, if you space it correctly, you are either just completely even, or even better yet, you can be advantage on block. Notice that the screen shakes when Akuma blocks a move, right? If you see any kind of screen shake when you block this, or the heavy version, that means it is Terry's turn. Terry has the advantage. So not only do you get to fling yourself across from like basically full screen, it can also be your turn after the fact, and that is incredibly strong. Granted, there is the weakness, the heavy version. There's a bit of a tell. It takes them a good amount of time to travel across the screen. So you can call that like parry bait or drive impact bait. The medium version though, like technically you could react to it. However, in a real match situation, considering from this range you can do a million other things, and the fact that the move itself is basically on the edge of human reaction to be able to react to, probably not as much. Meaning, this move is very abusable from the right range. I'm giving you permission to go stupid and spam this move, is what I'm saying. It will work out. Now, the enhanced version can also be advantage on block, and is in fact more lenient due to the nature of the frames. It's basically, you can just be sloppier with the spacing to make it advantage, and is faster from a range than the heavy version is. So there is that. That's nice. In combos where you happen to launch the enemy, also being EX, pretty good bait to go into, like, say, your level 2 or level 3 super. And the thing here is specifically, this is a punish counter move. So if you can get this hit as a punish counter, it'll put the enemy in a roll state compared to normal. And from this roll state, you can say land your level 1 super, which is nice. Or say you hit him in the corner, you actually get some more advanced things going on. So it can be quite tricky that way, right? You actually get some stuff working here. So it's not necessarily always going to be your most optimal punish counter, but if it's something you're just tossing out every now and then just to see what happens and you get that punish counter, the reward can be very big. Now our next special move is Power Charge. So it's a big old shoulder attack. And like Power Wave, every button kind of does a different thing. Although visually they look mostly the same regardless, they all sort of have a different purpose. So, but by itself, it's just a shoulder. You charge, like, that's in and of itself, that's all it is, right? The light version is mostly combo bait for lighter stuff. So the thing about this is specifically point blank, like, is combo to a point blank, it's whatever. Your advantage, which is nice. You can get a throw or whatever after the fact, right? Like quick burn, like we talked about. But with specific combos, you can make it hit later on in its active frames. You see the red part of the bar, right? It has 5 active frames. It hits on frame 1, you're +3. But if you're to hit later on, you can be +4 or better. And that means you can actually get some combos going on, right? Point blank, no guaranteed combos. Just a little further out, well, then you can start getting jabs because you're +4. So that's one of the interesting things about the light shoulder specifically. Don't use it on block though. It's not burn knuckle. It is death on block no matter how you space it. Medium shoulder has a bit of a just kind of juggle to it. So say in the corner, you can just combo after the fact, right? So that's nice. It does combo for mediums. Mid-screen, your juggle, you're not going to get too much going on. Although if you got the meter, you can land to level 2. So that is something. That's nice. Corner, though, that's where the magic happens. That's where you get your big juggles. The heavy version, though, is the real magic maker. So on top of it, like launching even more than the medium, the thing about the heavy version is Terry plays by different rules in the games he comes from, right? And he's actually bringing one of those rule changes to Street Fighter. So the heavy shoulder is a special move, but this special move can be special canceled. So you can go like whatever button, usually it's going to be like close heavy punch, which will naturally combo into heavy shoulder. So normal, special, another special. So you can double special. And you get some stuff off this, right? Obviously enough, combo ability, you better believe it's there. There you go into a projectile, right? That is a combo. And since that's a combo, you can also drive rush and get more combos, right? The heavy shoulder is where a lot of the magic happens. Like say in the corner, you can cancel into heavy power wave and then combo after that, right? So once again, the combo ability is really strong. This is one of the magic moves. This is one of the moves that makes Terry go. And actually enough, there is an EX version as well. This one's not as important. Say you get like 2 hits off of your stand heavy punch, right? Well, that's an easy confirm. And then big wall bounce and go into tackle, whatever. You're not going to be using this one as much. If you're going to be spending bar and combos, you generally have better options. But yeah, the light version, the medium version, the heavy version, all are good at very specific things. And they're all really good at what they do. Now, let's talk crack shoot. So, first go back into one of your kicks. This is basically your other neutral skip besides burn knuckle. So, it can't be plus on block. So, you can't use it that way, but it's always going to be barely negative on block. Either it's -3, the heavy version is -1. So, like, you're never getting punished for using this. Generally, this goes over things that are lower to the ground. Someone tossing out too many crouch medium kicks, this is a pretty good way to stop it, both the light version and medium version. If it does hit as a punish counter, it will just immediately splat the enemy. The heavy version also goes over traditional style fireballs. So if you know one's coming, just toss it out, go over the firewall, crack them on the head on the other side. The enhanced version is different here. So the enhanced version is mostly for combos. Now, not to say the normal versions don't have combo ability, because they certainly do in the right scenario. Check out the combo guide. But generally speaking, the enhanced version is, if you can catch them in any kind of airborne, it'll just automatically bounce them down to the ground, from where either you can get like a rising tackle follow-up, or if you got meter to burn, you can get like a super after the fact. Generally, combo ability is the main goal of the EX version. It's a very specific move, like it doesn't have a lot of broad applications. Just go in, either go over low, or depending on the button you press, go over fireball. That's kind of the main use. Really simple. Rising tackle. This is another move that's just quite simple in the end. This is your uppercut analogous move. So if Nasty Man jumps at you, you do the button, you win. Really quite simple in that way. All the versions are invincible to airborne attacks on frame 1. So be it a traditional jump in, say fireball coming your way from Kuma, whatever. They jump, you do the thing. The light version is faster, does less damage. The heavy version a bit slower, but does more damage. Simple enough. The enhanced version is fully invincible to everything. This is your get off me button, like so many characters, like say, you know, their EX Shoryuken equivalent. Well, this is what that is for Terry. If you're feeling a bit panicked, go for EX Rising Tackle, get off me, and get a decent chunk of damage in there while you're at it. Not too much else to say. Also, generally, I guess for a lot of combos, you're going to use this quite a bit. And if you're looking to burn, say, bar on like a level 3 super, well, you're going to be doing a lot of Rising Tackle into your level 3. Now, let's talk super moves. So, first off, his level 1 is the legendary Buster Wolf. Now, in the context of the game, like many level 1 supers, it is both strike and throw invincible on startup. So generally, as a wake up, it's a pretty good option if you don't, say, have the meter or EX Rising Tackle. It does a serviceable 2,000 damage, minimum scaling 30% at the end of a combo. Basically a lot of the level 1 stuff you would expect, right? So we have that. It looks cool. This is maybe the best it's ever looked, right? Basically turning Terry's arm into a shotgun, delivering the energy, so that's nice. So is that it? You know, basic standard level 1? Well, there is something to it that gives a bit of edge that you're not going to find in a lot of other level 1 supers, and that is its shocking speed. So point blank, 7 frame startup, which is good, and hits from good deals away, as you can see here, right? And even with travel time, it hits very fast, meaning it can punish many moves other characters simply cannot punish. Like let's take Dalsum, right? He has this newly buffed super where it's much safer on block, does like the gray health damage it used to do back in the Street Fighter V days, right? And the idea is, for the most part, most characters can't touch this, right? 10 frames, sure, it's a high number to be negative by, but like, you're not hitting any buttons that are reaching that far away, right? Terry, though, unless it's like spaced perfectly, can punish Dalsum, right? With pixel perfect spacing, admittedly, Dalsum will get away with it, right? That's the nature of the game. But anything that's not spaced perfectly or anything a little sloppy, a lot of situations, Terry can get people with Buster Wolf, thanks to its incredible speed and range, that a lot of characters just can't. And that's pretty dang handy, right? So it's good for combos, it's good for the usual stuff. There's some gimmicks like off fire kick specifically. You can hit at such like a high angle that you can get 2 of them in a row. That's pretty fun. Just as a level 1 super, all in all, very good, strong super move. Now, let's talk the level 2, the Power Geyser. There's a lot of stuff here. This is not just do damage to the move. Well, actually, I guess in a lot of ways it is do damage to the move, but even better, right? So, on its base level, you do it, well, you do damage. It is fully invincible startup, as it is a level 2 super. That's nice. But the thing is, there's a lot more going on here than the average super, because we have multiple follow-ups. So if you do the move, and then say you hit some punches, you hit 2 punches or more, right? Then you actually get a follow-up attack here. But notice our drive gauge. It takes 3 bars of the drive gauge to get the follow-up. But you do get a follow-up, which is really nice. It automatically scales to 40%, which is the maximum, or rather minimum scaling of a level 2. So you're not getting tons of damage, but you are getting damage. And the thing about this is you can get combo ability after the fact. So say I go for a corner combo here and go into this, and then I do the follow-up. It's a very high launch after the fact, right? And I can absolutely get something after the fact here. We'll keep it a little basic for our example here, but we do our follow-up, and then we can burn Knuckle after the fact, right? We get more hits, we get more damage, we can keep comboing. So that's actually really cool, right? This is not an option for many level 2s or supers in general, where you can burn drive gauge, right? That's very unique about this to begin with. They can burn drive gauge after the fact, after the initial hit, and we can keep combos going. But the thing, the real big thing, is we can keep going. So we can burn 2 bars, then burn 3 drive gauge, and then 1, 2, and then we can keep hitting our punch buttons, and we can burn an additional bar, burning all 3 bars, and getting the triple geyser, which is one of Terry's signature moves in Fatal Fury and King of Fighters. And the thing about triple geyser, obviously it's a big resource dump, right? You're burning all your meters and the drive gauge on top of that, but it actually does more damage in the majority of combos than his actual level 3 does, which is certainly interesting. We'll give it a basic example here. One's going to do the level 3 critical art version. One's going to do the level 2 with all the follow-ups. Level 2 is going to do more damage. So even with the scaling being better, right? Because level 2s have lower minimum scaling, I still did more damage. Same base, like it's not an elaborate combo, right? But same basic combo, but just due to the nature of the level 2 and how it works, you have more raw strength. Even at the end of exceptionally elaborate combos, you're generally going to do more damage at level 2. Now, granted, there is the drive cage cost, so it's not nothing, but it is there, right? For the most part, if you only care about raw damage and none of the other factors, level 2 is the way to go. Now, finally, the level 3, the Rising Fang. So, as far as level 3s go, it's your big damage dump. Now, as we talked about for the level 2 actually will do more damage and combos overall, but keep in mind, the level 2 will not drain meter the same way, right? All level 3s, one of the reasons you do it is to force burnout on the enemy, right? And it is still better at draining the opponent's drive gauge than a level 2 is. So there is always that. So there's certainly still value to it, right? It's not that level 2 is just strictly better, right? And it doesn't come with drive gauge requirements like the level 2 does, right? Maybe you don't want to force yourself into burnout because level 2, you're probably going in burnout to do it. Also, it's not going to be the most applicable, but it does go very high up in the air. The initial hit doesn't connect, I guess, right? Like, you could use it as anti-air, but I don't know. It's just, that's how the animation works, right? But generally speaking, it's usable in all the ways you use level 3. Most level 3s are not about nuance. It is about doing raw damage and draining the opponent's drive gauge, and it does that just as much as everyone else's does. Now, to just talk his command normals, he has a good suite of command normals. Better command normals overall than most characters, I would say. So forward heavy punch, it's a stock overhead. You're glad to have it. Drive rush into the overhead is indeed advantage on hit. It is plus on block. You can combo after the fact. It's good in all the ways you would want overhead to be for the most part, right? We do have medium heavy punch, and it's very solid. Like, it's basically just poke fodder, right? But it's strong poke fodder. If you just hit medium punch and you buffer in heavy punch, if the medium connects at all, the heavy comes out. It's a good little chunk of damage. And at maximum range, as long as you don't do too close, and maximum range, if it were to say be blocked, it's for the most part safe at -5. No one's really reaching from that far away, right? So if you're just doing the whole poke thing in neutral, just hit medium punch, heavy punch. Like, it's low reward, but it's also very low risk. Why not? Now, speaking of medium punch, so we have medium punch, heavy punch. We also have medium punch, heavy kick. Now, this launches you up. This is not a natural combo. This has to be either counter hit or better. If it is counter hit, it will combo, or conversely, if you do it in a juggle, and there's a lot of ways to combo into this from juggles. And medium punch, heavy kick, and then heavy kick again goes for the iconic power dunk. And it slams you down to the ground and gives you a pretty solid knockdown, which we'll cover later in the video, right? The thing about this is very unique is you can delay the final hit by quite a bit. So you can just smash a button and you always get it. Like, if you get the first 2 hits, you're guaranteed this hit. Don't worry about that, right? You can jam on it. But if you were to delay it, then certain things can happen, right? Like, you can change the frame data on the move a little bit, which is interesting. And also, there is a sweet spot where if you do it at the right moment, the screen shakes just a little bit and you do more damage. So notice that did 2,490 damage, right? If I just jam on it, 2,350. So it's not like a lot more, sure, but it does reward you for having the correct timing. Generally, the correct timing is right about when they're starting to fall again from the launch, right? That's when you want to hit heavy kick again. So you'll always get it no matter what. Don't worry about it. But if you have the right timing, you will get more damage. And more damage is more better. There is the fire kick, crouch medium kick, heavy kick. And this is actually legitimately fantastic. This gives his crouch medium kick, which is one of the better in the game, a lot more sass and a lot more threat than a lot of characters. Because most characters, they need that drive rush after the fact, right? Terry gets a launch without spending a dime. And of course, naturally, this is special cancelable, the second hit, and you can do a lot of fun things from it. So we'll talk about it more later in the video, but this actually is worth its weight in gold. Just as like poke, counter poke. Admittedly, not the safest on block. Neither should it be, because it is a launcher, right? But very powerful. And finally, there is the passing sway. Passing sway, I will file under Gimmick, to be perfectly honest about it. But it's an interesting gimmick. So it's basically a callback to the original Fatal Fury games where it had the lane system, where you could be on the base lane or like a higher lane or a lower lane as he passes through the lanes. And when this happens, he actually like leaves the state of play. He is invincible while doing this, although perfectly vincible on his return. And basically, here's how it works. So it's medium punch, medium kick. And this has to connect. If it's blocked, this won't come out. And from there, you can hit back and medium punch. And he'll leave the lane and then come back with a big old punch. And that hits the same side. You hit forward medium punch, and he'll switch lanes and whiff, right? This is like purposely whiffing. You can hit back medium kick, and that will whiff. Or you can hold forward medium kick, and then he'll switch sides, and this is a cross up, right? So basically we have cross up, fake cross up, same side, and fake same side, but hits cross. Like, basically, it's just a big gimmick engine, right? There is some minor combo ability with this, but generally anything where it does combo, you're better served doing other options, to be honest with you. It is there more as like a nod to Terry's past and legacy, more than a strong game plan in and of itself. But that said, if you can gimmick someone out with a quick cross up and they don't know, by all means, go for it. Now, talking notable normals, Terry doesn't have as defining or dominant normals as some other characters. Once again, very much his all-rounder status, right? He has a lot of perfectly all right things. Like his jump heavy punch, I think, is ignorant enough for what it is, right? It has a good hitbox attached to it. If you're slower, just like say Luke's jump heavy punch, it can definitely stuff you out of certain things. Say stand medium kick, perfectly serviceable poke, right? But not best in class. It has some other uses, which we'll talk about in the counter poking section. But as a poke in and of itself, it's all right. Now, crouch medium kick. His crouch medium kick is about roughly the same as Jury's. It is 8 frames, and it has roughly the same range, meaning this is actually quite good. It is drive rush okay, so don't worry. You're going to get the good stuff when you're going for it. You're going to get pretty respectable damage considering the scaling and good corner carry. Like, so he does the crouch medium kick drive rush thing, I would say better than most, right? His crouch medium kick is very good, and it also has that command normal attached to it, right? So to get damage off a crouch medium kick, he doesn't even have to spend bar. If you want to, you can, but he does not need to. So like at a minimum level, say with EX Crack Shoot with the bounce, he can spend less bar to get the same damage off the crouch medium kick drive rush, right? So that is not nothing. And of course, he never has to spend meter at all. It naturally combos into heavy knuckle. Like, it's just really good that way. We're gonna talk about it more in the counter poking section, but crouch medium punch, very strong. 6 frame startup, 4 active frames is more than usual, right? Slightly disjointed hitbox on it as well, as in the part that can hit you is a little bit better where the part you can hit him. For counter pokes, it gives him a lot. And we have stand heavy kick. So stand heavy kick, most analogous to Marissa's stand heavy kick. So in and of itself, 12 frames, good range. It's basically always going to be safe at the range you want to use it at. And on punish counter, well, it's a crumple. And yes, sir, you can always get at least this as a bare minimum follow-up. So that's almost 3,000. That is not nothing. Also has a lot of active frames. So this is not an awful choice for certain meaties. You can have it hit very deep into the move and then wildly change the frame advantage, like +8 on hit here, normally +1 on hit, right? So there's a wide variance there. So as far as like meaty timing goes, and we'll have an example later in the video, you can actually do really fun stuff with that as well. But for everything else, like, you know, crouch heavy punch, like say one uses an anti-air, it's all right, but you got a proper anti-air special, so you know, you don't need charge like Guile does or whatever when he relies on his crouch heavy punch. Everything's just perfectly all right, right? There's not tons of standouts, but everything's very serviceable. Certainly nothing bad, except for maybe his sweep is not the best sweep, but can't win them all. Now, let's talk Terry and just counter poking, right? General concepts to neutral, like once again, he's got very serviceable buttons, you know, he's got range options, and of course, this should be your neutral a lot of the time, right? Because you can get really ignorant with Burn Knuckle. But Terry is kind of blessed when it comes to punishing other people's bad button presses in a lot of ways. So we'll use an example here of Chun crouch medium kick, because this is one of the best crouch medium kicks in the game, right? So Chun doing a lot of crouch medium kick, probably gonna happen. And what can we do when it comes to counter pokes, right? Like, so let's say stand medium kick. And medium kick is, once again, perfectly serviceable poke. It'll blow her up as it like, kind of raises his leg. He doesn't have to interact with the lower part of a crouch medium kick. And here's the thing. On regular hit, it is +5, which is whatever. And therefore, on punish counter, naturally enough, +9. And even at like more maximum ranges here, +9, Buster Wolf has pretty fast startup, right? And that means anytime you get a punish counter, if you counter poke with, say, medium kick, you get a free Buster Wolf. And of course, maybe you get a counter hit, right? You hit him before the move came out. Still +7. And if you're in range enough to do that, well, guess what, buddy? Still a combo. Buster Wolf travels pretty far, pretty fast, right? Obviously, punish counter is better. More leeway. But basically, it's almost similar to like Ryu, right? Ryu stand medium kick and go into level 1 fireball in a lot of ways. And this is your version of that. If you ever just counter poke with medium kick, you get a free Buster Wolf. And that's a pretty good chunk of change when it comes to damage. And of course, when we fish for our crouch medium kicks all the time, right? And we're hoping against hope we'll catch something going to the drive rush. Once again here, Terry, due to the fact that he has that target combo, does not need the burn bar. So when you're just fishing, you can fish with fire kick. You don't need to just jam on that drive rush, burn 3 bars. If you're lucky enough to actually catch something, just go from there. Like, Terry's general crouch medium kick offense is really blessed because of this. Like, he has a good drive rush, which everyone wants to do if you have a halfway decent crouch medium kick. But the fact that he just simply doesn't have to burn meter the same way as other characters means just tossing it out and buffering in heavy kick while you're doing it, huge potential reward. And that is really nice. That's really, really nice. Like, maybe it's simple corner carry with a burn knuckle, or maybe you want to go like a little crazy here. Like, options are on the table. Fire kick's pretty good. And then there's just crouch medium punch. It's just a big old wall of active frames. There's a lot to like here. Fast startup, 4 active frames. And once again, it has a disjoint hitbox as well, right? So it's just a really good whiff punish move. It's a really good shimmy move. It's good in a lot of ways, not the least of which is it has a better drive rush combo than crouch medium kick does. Crouch medium kick, generally you're looking at something like this. Just not nothing, right? 2,255. Crouch medium punch actually gives you enough frame advantage to go right into stand heavy punch, which lets you go into round wave, which lets you go into fire kick, lets you go into burn knuckle, right? So you get all that corner carry, just more damage. And if you catch them crouching, which on a whiff punish, a lot of times you're probably gonna, because they're going for like crouch medium kick or whatever, it goes into power dunk and does even more damage. Now we're close to 3,000 damage, right? And why does it go into power dunk when this normally only combos on counter hit? Basically, due to oddities of how the just string works and they're crouching with the widened hitbox, or rather hurt box, this hits on the second active frame, not the first, which means it now does naturally combo into the target combo. So yeah, you get a lot of damage, right? A lot of damage off counter poking what is usually crouch medium kicks, like one of the most common forms of poking offense in neutral. So basically, really good. So basically, when it comes to just punishing pokes, Terry's actually pretty proficient at this aspect of the game. Now, let's talk Terry in general neutral. So one, yes, use your buttons, all that kind of stuff, right? But I want to talk about some of the unique aspects that is really Terry only. And one of those is Power Wave. So Power Wave, as we've talked about, it doesn't interact with basic projectiles the way like everyone else does, right? And that's really interesting for a lot of ways. One, I think this is like we're kind of logicking stuff out, right? But it makes when he has a health advantage more advantageous. So say we're in a situation here, like we do the thing, we both trade. Okay. And technically Akuma Fireball specifically does a bit more damage, so like I'm losing out. So whatever. In this thing, in a raw vacuum, this is a zero-sum game, right? But say there is a health disparity. Say, for whatever reason, this is what our healths look like. And now, we trade, and who's winning here? Akuma's Fireball does a little bit more damage, but I feel like I'm winning these trades. I got more health to give than he does. He can't afford these trades like I can, right? So when it comes to the style of Terry's fireball, right? People can't afford to get into a fireball battle with you the same way if Terry happens to have a health lead, because it makes that health disparity all the more pronounced. And say, you know, a lot of characters in a projectile battle, if they're lower health especially, okay, it's time to bust out the EX, so I definitely win. But you don't definitely win. Yeah, it'll do more damage, but you're still gonna get hit, right? So I think this is a strong bully tool if Terry happens to have a larger health advantage over the enemy against people who want to toss out a lot of projectiles. And then there's the secret bonus. So, Power Wave has a lot of frame advantage on hit at, you know, good distances. So at roughly, you know, from here, if it hits, guess what? If it hits from like this far away, you can see it hit, go right into Buster Wolf, and it will combo. Straight up. Will combo. Second hit, so there's not even going to be any scaling. And that's kind of big. That is not nothing, right? So you can react to the actual hit. Just buffer it in. And if you see the move, when you're hitting the buffer, okay, hit kick, Buster Wolf. And here's the thing. These projectile wars, these trades, right? If you see something trade and Power Wave hits second, that also basically guarantees a Buster Wolf. So punish counter, additional frame advantage, right? Oh, whoops. I sure feel bad. Who won that trade? I wonder, right? So this is what I'm talking about here. Terry wins these trades big time in a way other characters do not. Is the fact that he doesn't have to interact, he doesn't have to play the same game everyone does, right? He can combo into Buster Wolf by itself. If it hits, great, right? But if you see that trade happen and you know you hit second, that is a guaranteed Buster Wolf for the most part. You're just gonna have so much frame advantage. It's so far, hits so fast, like it works out, right? So he gets to play a non-standard projectile game, which is really, really, really cool. And I like that a lot. There's also the medium version here, which doesn't go as full screen, right? And it can be used as a decent fake out in a way. Like, you're the kind of person who's fighting someone who parries like every single projectile, right? You can like force it to whiff and just basically make them burn bar. Now, if they notice, admittedly, there's this, or like, oh, and they can drive rush, but Terry recovers in time. He can counter poke it. It's a gimmicky kind of thing. I'm not gonna lie, but it is there. And then, hey, while we're talking about neutral, hey, here's your neutral, Burn Knuckle. Like, legitimately, this move is stupid. This is basically, in a lot of ways, Terry's best move. Just run forward, scream at the enemy. Good knockdown on hit. Very appreciable knockdown on hit. Plus frames if it's spaced right. And even if you know it's coming. Like, there we go. Like, if I know, because I'm the one hitting the button, I can parry it sometimes. I'm a little, like, I can be slow. And I'm the one dictating when this actually happens, right? For an opponent in a completely live fire situation, realistically, this is on the absolute edge of reaction time. And I know there's those guys out there, oh, I can always react to like a 15 frame over it. Like, one, no, you can't. Two, like, this is just fast enough that it's going to be hard. Because, like, yo, even if you did parry, if it wasn't a perfect parry, Terry's still plus. He's still going to hit a button. He's still going to win out, right? Like, it does not dissuade him. Anything short of the perfect parry, which is difficult to do, like, in the most sterile training mode situations, I can do it, sure. But, like, in real match, man, like, I don't know. Yes, admittedly, the heavy one has the tell. Like, that one's going to be easier to get. But medium, for what it is just so fast. It is so fast. Like, use it and abuse it is really all I can say, because it's a very silly move. Now, to talk Terry versus people in Burnout. Terry, unfortunately, doesn't have many ways to force Burnout, you know, other than the usual stuff. It's still always going to happen, but he's not as proficient as some characters enforcing the issue. But once we're there, we're pretty good. Like, a bare minimum here. Crack shoot. Every crack shoot now becomes plus on block. And also, heavy crack shoot is actually +3. So, like, that is pretty okay. You can really force the issue there, +3 in throw range, right? So, you know, on just its face value, that alone, right? And those burn knuckles that we're talking about here, like, you don't even gotta pretend to space these anymore. It's basically always gonna be plus on block when they're in Burnout. So that's another fun little thing. And of course, when you have someone in Burnout, you know, the end goal is usually do something, make them block the drive impact, you know, get the combo, usually win the game, right? For Terry, the checkmate is just stand heavy punch. So stand heavy punch, it does leave a gap, so there will be the wall bounce. If you have too much frame advantage, you get the lock, right? And then nothing happens. So you don't want too much frame advantage. So if you just do, say, stand heavy punch, that's enough right there. It'll stuff any button. Obviously, people can still do level 1 supers, all that kind of stuff. But if you want your checkmate, there it is. Other than that, Burnout just lets you be extra stupid, extra ignorant. So once they're in Burnout, just go crazy. So now let's talk the basics of combo theory. Once again, we do have a dedicated combo guide on the channel. So if you want the good stuff, hey, check that out, right? But let's talk some of the basics. So when we're doing basic head confirms, right? Now, Terry point blank can go with 2 crouch light punches. But if you're anything like less than point blank, third one's gonna whiff, right? But stand light punch won't. The thing is, stand light punch gives different options than crouch light punch. If we got crouch light punch, we can go and say medium burn knuckle, which is very good for the pressure follow-ups, which we'll talk about later. Or if we just want raw damage, we can also go into, say, heavy rising tackle, but we can also do that from stand light punch, right? So basically, if you want the most reliable, always in range stuff, maximum hit confirm, you want to end like stand light punch and just go for like uppercut or whatever, right? But if you want better knockdowns, be prepared to learn your 2-hit combos here, get your burn knuckle going on, or maybe even quick burn, right? Quick burn, also very advantageous. Needs to throw pressure out of the fact. When it comes to lights, that's generally the routes. Take the knockdown from burn knuckle, better Oki, or just take more damage from rising tackle. For some basic drive rush offense, he doesn't got the best, biggest buttons. You usually probably want to go for lights. Your 2 options being either crouch light kick or just stand light punch. Now, unlike some other characters, his drive rush crouch light kick actually is plus on block, right? So both options are plus on block. One is more plus than the other. So if you want to potentially go for like throw pressure after the fact, light punch is better. But the option for the quick low to scam people is there and still be your turn if it's blocked. On crouch life kick, you'd want to be a bit closer so you can go into crouch medium punch and still get your standing light kick. So that way you can go into light shoulder and get that usual combo from there. And almost 2,000, not awful for, you know, quick range light. You don't have to space light punch as much. As long as you get it at all, you can always get something. At bare minimum, you can always get crouch medium kick, which means you can always get the target combo. So that is something. A bit closer though, and you can still get the same combo as well. So that option's on the table for both. Medium starters, other than medium kick, where you get much the same similar combo, it's mostly going to be like drive rush or like counter hit stuff. Crouch medium punch does come with light kick, but it doesn't give the auto spacing where you get combos off light shoulder. And medium punch, stand medium punch is just +1 hit, so it's kind of whatever. Now, of course, the gold standard here is anything off heavy shoulder, right? So heavy punch goes into heavy shoulder. First hit does. Both hits will not naturally combo. And of course, from there, well, you can special cancel into whatever, right? So general combo structure, say, jump and you do that. Stand heavy punch has so much pushback, it's -1. I would consider that just basically like it's a shimmy in and of itself. But if you get it, oh cool, shoulder time, right? And then from there, the idea usually is going to be you want to go into crack shoot, into rising tackle for the standard B&B if you're just looking to max out your damage. And of course, as we talked about here, this is delayable. If you do it right away, you will not get maximum damage. You got to delay the crack shoot, make sure you get the 3rd hit, and then get no more optimal damage. Although don't stress that too much. It's better to not get more damage and not drop the combo than risk dropping the combo, because if you're a little late, you will drop the combo. And of course, now, if we're in the corner, that's where things get really magic, right? Now, however you wind here, There's a lot of ways. It could be like off a drive rush, counter poke drive rush. Maybe you did go for that stand heavy punch. Basically, whatever you did that you can combo into a button that can go into shoulder. That's what we're looking for here, right? Because in the corner, then shoulder goes into round wave. And that does a lot of damage in and of itself and also keeps popping up the enemy. And then from here, either like easy juggle potential, that's all well and good. Or if you happen to have meter to burn, well, this is a pretty good spot to start doing it, right? Because you get easy drive rush follow-ups and get even more damage yet. Or this could be a pretty good spot to like kind of burn the whole kit and caboodle and just go for like your level 3 or whatever, get your max damage in, right? In the corner, it's basically time to dump. This is where Terry gets all of his best stuff. Not the least of which is his nice corner-specific spacing combos. You've probably seen some version of this. What it usually wants is something into round wave, the heavy version of Geyser, or power wave, right? So however you get there, it doesn't particularly matter as long as you get this, and it is a combo. From there, that's +8. Is crouch heavy punch, also 8 frames, that works out. And there, combos in the EX wave, power wave. And the thing is, it's just a little bit further away, so it hits on not the first active frame, which gives us +7, which is exactly what stand medium punch is, right? If we were to do it point blank, it'd only be +2. So since it hits just a bit further away, the frame data changes, and it leaves us advantageous enough to get that. From there, go into another drive rush. Hey, that looks like a corner combo to me, right? So generally you want your bigger damage avenues. This is sort of roughly what we're aiming for. Depending on how optimal you get, especially if it's a punish count or something, you can get like almost 7,000 damage. And it all starts to basically, how did you get into round wave, right? So off a stand heavy punch, if it's either a punish counter, that'll naturally combo, or just off a drive rush and you don't need a punish counter. And if you do have a punish counter already, then drive rush crouch heavy punch into round wave also works. And that just basically ups the damage by a few hundred points, because with the stand heavy punch, you're canceling the first hit, you're not getting all the damage, versus this would front load the damage because the crouch heavy punch is just a single hit. So more damage up front, and to get the most damage in this game, you got to up front all your damage, right? But yeah, wherever you are on screen, if you know you have the big punish, generally drive rush, crouch heavy punch, round wave is the way to go. But if you are going to do it this way, just don't overshoot it and drive rush under what you're trying to punish. So mid-screen, like basic example, it will look something like this. Drive rush. And then there we go, right? Round wave being +8. Goes right into the fire kick combo. And then from there, because they're airborne, EX crash shoot juggles, bounce. Obviously, we get much more damage in the corner. Right? In the corner, we can get the really fancy stuff. But, you take what you can get, right? Not always going to be the cool corner combo. And of course, as we talked about earlier in the video, like stuff like Buster Wolf, it being so fast is very applicable in so many situations. You can get it like in situations you wouldn't think, like just off a raw basic fireball mid-screen. Applications are near endless when it comes to that, and like various juggles you can do with it. Once again, this is just the basics of combo. If you want the more advanced stuff, check out the dedicated combo guide. But that's sort of Terry 101 when it comes to combos. All right, now you have entered the throw zone. So Terry, like, well, almost every character in the game has throw loops, right? And he's got some other stuff besides that post throw, which we'll talk about in a second. But let's talk the basic throw loop if you don't know it. So after a throw in the corner, Terry is +36. So say the enemy is going to wake up with a 4-frame button after the fact, I can still walk forward and throw them out of it. And there we go, right? The thing with Terry versus some of the other characters that can do it, the window for Terry doing this is much tighter. You can still do it, as you just saw, but it is tighter. Now, the thing about that is he also has auto-timed throw loops. So after the throw, just dash. And if you dash, you're 3 frames advantage. Meaning, well, you have so much advantage even if they wake up with that button, your fastest possible button. If I dash plus 3, throw is 5 frames, I'm always gonna win. It is really as simple as that. That is the essence of a throw loop. You gotta do something to get out of this. You gotta jump out, you gotta do something invincible, maybe back that, like, you gotta do something, whatever it may be, right? Then, of course, it's multi-layered, right? Say I know you're going to hit a button anyways. Then I can just hit a button myself, go into like a counter hit combo, or just, you know, even a basic regular combo. Does not particularly matter. Say you can try jump out. That absolutely works against a throw. Hey, you got out, right? But then, if I'm hitting buttons, well, that's not going to work out quite the way you hoped, right? You can delay throw tech. So if I go for the throw, you'll still tech the throw. And if I go for a basic strike, you can block in time. But if you do delay throw tech, then you risk getting jumped on. Because, you know, throw does have quite a bit of recovery, right? And if I get the full jump, oh, you're eating the whole jump combo, that's no good. Or if I know you're going to delay throw tech, then we go back to like the walk style. I can just kind of like walk in and out of your range, right? And that might end real bad for you. So you gotta watch out for that. Basically, throw loops always give you the advantage. There's a lot of ways to go about it. There's play, there's counterplay, right? But it's just something to keep in mind. That's kind of the basics of throw loops in general, which are very applicable to most characters, and that's how it works for Terry. Now, some other fun stuff for Terry that's unique to Terry, right? So say you do basic throw in the corner and you go for medium power wave. It does not hit on the first active frame, and thus you're just +1. It's not a lot of plus to be, right? The idea is really just to stop mashers. As if you catch someone mashing, remember medium wave knocks down on counter hit, right? So if they hit any kind of button, oh cool, free Buster Wolf, right? Because the counter hit leaves them airborne, it is juggle okay. So then you can kind of mess around using that as a layer of pressure. You can also just do drive rush, stand, heavy punch. And it hits very meaty in the later active frames, making the drive rush version +5 on block. And once again here, because it's hitting much later in the active frames, if they try to hit a button, well, you're gonna clean their clock, something fierce. Say, even if they don't hit a button, you just caught them trying to get out of the corner. Still +8. So at bare minimum, if this connects at all, fire kick combo is guaranteed. And if it's blocked, it's super advantageous. Obviously, you're burning more resources than the base throw loop, right? But this is just introducing more layers to get people kind of guessing on their toes. And of course, bare minimum. You do this, fake them out, make them block, then just throw them again, right? So more layers, more better. He has a couple options besides just the base throw loop. Base throw loop is real good, but there is more options. Now, welcome to the Oki Zone, post knockdown pressure. And we're going to start with Terry's fundamental building block, Burn Knuckle. So off any like light hit confirm, off many combos, medium burn knuckle knocks down. When it knocks down at a close range, it gives us 30 frames of advantage, and it's really as simple as this. Just dash after the fact, even if they back roll, doesn't matter. You're still directly on top of them with 11 frames of advantage. So right here, walk forward just a smidge, boom, throw them. And I throw them with such authority that they can mash out all they want. I'm still winning. Like you can see here, crouch light punch when they wake up, right? Does not particularly matter to me. I have so much frame advantage, I'm definitely going to win. So that's just basic layer 1, naturally enough. You catch them trying to tech throws or hitting any buttons, you have so much advantage. Once again, after a tiny walk forward, you will definitely win. You are at +11. It is as simple as that. So throw, strike, whatever you want to do, just hit them with Burn Knuckle. However you do it, hit them with Burn Knuckle, dash, walk forward just a smidge, throw, strike, whatever, you're going to win out. It's good. Now specifically, the corner. You still have the same amount of frame advantage, right? But we can do something a little bit different here. So do what you're going to do, whiff jab twice. This is a frame kill. And if you whiff jab twice, you're going to be at +8 frames of advantage. And from there, we can do some things. The most basic building block of which, crouch medium punch. So +8 means this will not connect right away because they're not up yet, right? This will hit later in the active frames. And when it hits later in the active frames, that means if it connects, +8. And +8 means we can do some fancier things. Like say, combo into our fire kick target combo, right? Because that's 8 frames. So there you go. Obviously, normally enough, this is +5. Would not connect, but +8, it will. And hey, what if they block? This is -1 normally on block, but since it's hitting later in the active frames, it can now be +2. Because once again, the numbers are changing. So now we're plus on block if they wake up. So either we get a combo or plus on block. Either way works out. Now one, I don't want to call this a downside, but if you do it perfectly, you'll just whiff your throw. Just whiff your throw. Because they're technically not up to be grabbed yet. But all you got to do, just the tiniest delay. The tiniest delay, you'll get the throw. It'll be any possible wake up button. And then throw in the corner, go for throw loop shenanigans, go from there. So good enough, I would think. Good enough. Another use of medium knuckle, besides just like the base use of, basic hit confirm combo, is say we do get that fancy corner combo, right? We're showing up. Sacrifice a little bit of damage, so you're not getting max damage. But what we're going to do here is we're going to go into medium knuckle at the end. And that leaves us at a right amount of frame advantage for us to withstand medium kick, and some fun things happen. So do the combo, withstand medium kick, and then we're at +4 frames. So at bare minimum, +4 frames, we go for throw, we're going to win. There's always that. And also, even at fastest possible tech timing, we can just walk out. Because here's the thing, when we do that, the medium kick, not only is it like an auto-time frame kill thing, it also slightly pushes us out of the corner. To the point. Like say, medium punch into a light kick is a natural combo, but if we go for shoulder after the fact, we don't get the spacing specific combo. But here, +4, we do get the spacing specific combo. Because once again, we're just pushed out just ever so slightly. It can change the numbers on how all this works. And of course, when we go for crouch medium punch, if we're +4, 6 frames, like we're going to win, right? If they do anything but block, we win. It's a natural combo. We don't need counter hit or whatever. They do jumping, like they do anything, we're going to get that combo. So it's one of those deals where admittedly, we're giving up a little bit of damage out of the gate. But if we get it, the reward is sizable, right? We're getting more than we're potentially losing out of this. If they hit buttons or do stuff or whatever, like it works out. This is the nature of the setup. Give a little damage now, you get more damage down the road. So here's another one. We're giving up just a little bit of damage, but however you do it, the pressure will be good, right? So once again here, whatever into heavy shoulder. And once you get heavy shoulder, just cancel into heavy burn knuckle. And we're +44. So here's the thing, very simple. After that connects, just dash twice, we're +6 in the enemy's face. Nothing they can do about it. They can back roll, whatever. We're directly on top of the enemy with major frame advantage. And so much of what we talked about already in the video, all that stuff's applicable. If we hit a button, we're always going to win. If we try to throw them, there ain't nothing they can do about it, right? You're giving up a little bit of damage now because it's certainly not the most optimal combo you could be doing, right? Like, we've already shown, more optimal combos. Absolutely, right? But those combos don't give you that direct pressure after the fact. So once again, whatever, heavy shoulder, heavy knuckle, dash twice, frame kill, +6 in their face, they got a groove on it. Here's another easy one. It doesn't particularly matter how you get here, but anything to do with the power target combo. Unless they're insanely high up, the frame advantage, if you do it the regular timing, is always going to be +25. In like 90% of scenarios, it's always going to be +25. And this specifically means just drive rush as soon as you can right off the fact, go for stand heavy kick. And it's going to hit later in the active frames. And if it connects at all, it is +8. And if it's +8, as we've said so many times, goes directly into fire kick, going to whatever combo. If for whatever reason it happens to be blocked, hey, it happens. It happens, right? We're still +3. And therefore, whatever, buttons we're going to press, we're going to win. You're basically just inside of throw range, like 1 pixel forward will catch him with a throw. And naturally enough, then once it's established, you can walk out, punish any throw text, whatever. It's simple. Once again, This is fairly universal. The frame data will not be changed on the dunk combo unless they are wildly high up when you initially get them. And most combos, that won't be the case. So for all things considered, just dash forward, heavy kick, and it'll give you that auto time sweetness with the meaty. And of course, once it's established, then the shenanigans begin, right? And you get a slight delay and go for a throw or whatever. Like, Bob's your uncle. Quick and dirty, but it is effective and useful. And finally, for post knockdown, I want to give you the gimmick. So, as with many things, we're going back to heavy shoulder, right? So heavy shoulder, among the things that we canceled into, is EX Power Wave. Sure enough. And it does a cool thing where like a double bounces off, right? The thing is, we can work with that. So what we're going to do is this, EX Wave, and we're going to go into Drive Rush Medium Punch. And then in the Burn Knuckle. And notice how after all those shenanigans, Aki still had to block that last hit. And the thing is, we can make that kind of inescapable. So here we'll do heavy Burn Knuckle, right? And that time it whiffed because I have Aki to not recover in place. If they tech in place, they'll always get hit. But if they don't, they won't get hit. But if after the fact we just double dash and walk forward for like a frame, we still force them to like basically go into it, right? And even there, at the most peak of it, it's still plus 16 on block. So regardless, as you can tell, like they can't exactly hit buttons on it, right? They hit buttons, they're gonna get bopped. And if they do get bopped, it's plus 20 on hit. So basically, you can just see it hit and you can do whatever. Like, I don't need to give you combos. Whatever combo you want to do, probably heavy punch in the shoulder because that's how Terry works, right? But whatever you want to do, it works, right? So if it does get blocked, you're forcing them into the power wave, right? If it does get blocked, well, that's the option. And then go for whatever appropriate mix and pressure you want to do. And if not, then any combo you want. The thing about this, if you're a little too close to the corner, the combo doesn't really work the same way because then it just leaves the screen. So you kind of have to be about mid-screen here or closer to your corner. So it is spacing dependent, keep that in mind, but I think it's too cool not to show you. Now, finally on safe jumps, unfortunately, at least in my personal testing, Terry's not the best safe jumper in the world. You know, it's not critical. He's got some other stuff, right? But when it comes to the traditional plus 42 frames of advantage safe jump, which basically beats everything except for like Lily, Windclad, Lights, Tomahawk Buster, right? That's just going to be medium shoulder. Medium shoulder is just plus 42 out of the gate. So however you want to combo into it, that's on you. You know, obviously, if you're going to be using medium shoulder, you're going to be sacrificing some damage in the end. But them's the breaks, I guess. But even against the dreaded 5-framer uppercuts, like say Ken's light uppercut, right? This is a proper safe jump. However you get into it, there you go, it works. And just to show you here, if Ken did not show you, I get my hit. And once again, however you want to go about it, when it comes to the generalized Street Fighter classic style of safe jump, whatever into medium shoulder is the way you want to go about it. There's other setups, yes, but then they're less frame advantage. They're more susceptible to just about anything. So this is the only classical style one I could find. And that is Terry Bogard. So Terry, I think, is a very complete package. Once again, I think he can do anything the game asks of you, right? Street Fighter 6 is its own thing. Every Street Fighter is different. But everything Street Fighter 6 wants out of you, Terry can do. Maybe not everything he does is the most overwhelming, right? His damage potential isn't necessarily the highest. His combo ability is not necessarily the highest. Like, he doesn't have maybe like the most annoying gimmicks or whatever, but he can do basically everything, right? He's a very solid all-rounder. The only issue is, compared to, you know, some of the other solid all-rounders, are they better than him or not in the end? And I think he can overall hang. Like, I'm not here to tell you he's like strictly better than Akuma or anything like that, especially because, you know, Akuma has a level of Fireball War that Terry, well, he just plays a different kind of Fireball game, as we covered earlier in the video, right? But I think he's very solid enough. Maybe not top one with a bullet or anything, but you definitely won't go wrong with Terry. And if you also just want to turn off your brain, Burn Knuckle will absolutely let you do that. So that's always fun. Terry is Street Fighter's first ever real guest character, you know, not just crossing over with other Capcom properties. And as someone who's personally a fan of SNK games, I gotta say they knocked it out of the park, right? His animation, his look between both the costumes, like all of his special moves, the special moves they chose to pick, like Quick Burn, would surprise me at first, but I'm kind of glad they went with it, right? Everything about Terry, design-wise, gameplay-wise, like it is a home run. I like everything about this character. Now, Terry is very new as of the time of me making this video, right? So it'll remain yet to be seen if he's going to blow up the tournament scene or not, or if it's just going to be a Kuma and Rashid all day long, as it usually is for the last while. We'll see where it goes, right? But I think Terry's cool. I think he's fun. I think he's worth your time if you are at all interested in what you've seen in this video or in the character. I think it is worth your time to put your time into this character, because I think it'll pay rewards in the end. Because once again, Terry can basically do everything this game wants. So I think that's a valuable enough asset in and of itself. And that said, that is the video. This is certainly a longer video. After I'm done editing, I'll probably be over an hour long or whatever. So if you got this far, if you could leave a like, very appreciated. And other than that, till next time, till the next guide. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Street Fighter.